Hello everyone, welcome to the Code Break podcast. Stay hungry. Tonight we got another banger for you. Effortless productivity revisited. How to get more shit done in less time. Let's go. Excellent. Must stop doing those funny head wobbles when I get excited about the music because we're being videoed. How are you, Marth?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I've got the brains of the outfit with us today then. So we're going to so when I went up to South Shields to sit down with Paul Mort, we talked about how to be more productive. So I thought that was a while ago now, and I thought we'd really drill down into some techniques that we've seen work in terms of basically, getting more shit done in less time. You're the productivity queen. Can I say that, or was that sexist?
No, please. Yeah,
Okay.
I do identify as a queen.
Oh, okay. So, no, I would say the whole thing boils down to one quote, which is where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you give your attention to the wrong people, the wrong tasks, that's probably where you're going to be a bit stressed and unproductive. And I'd say 90% of the improvements in my productivity have been down to knowing that. So there we go, podcast over, I suppose. So, I mean, the wrong tasks. Oh, what wrong tasks that you've realised that you've been giving your attention to in the past? You think, right, I can't do that shit anymore. They either have to get delegated, outsourced, binned, whatever. Any examples?
Well, I know that this is one of my biggest downfalls is going down rabbit holes. I want to know everything about everything, and I just can't. It means I can't focus on the things that I need to, and clients need me to, and Codebreak need me to. But I really have to take myself out and be like, no, this is a rabbit hole. Somebody else. I mean, there was an example once where I was going down a Google Ads rabbit hole for like half a day, and then you said, "Have you asked Poddy?" and he figured it out in less than an hour.
Is that where Joel made you take that half day's holiday?
So
So how do you what are the warning signs when you think you might be going down a rabbit hole and ultimately not focusing on what you need to be focusing on?
I say if I'm stuck on the same step for longer than 15 minutes.
It's hard though, isn't it? Passing responsibility to someone else because no one can do it as good as I can. Oh, it's easier if I do it, and all those kind of excuses come up. Obviously, you've got Abby working for you now, so it's giving her stuff done. It is tough.
It is because you always want to. I'll just do it myself this time because it'd be quicker and I need it done quickly. Whereas after chatting with you, I actually need to give Abby the time she deserves and help her learn. Otherwise, I'll always be doing it.
Short-term pain. It's like, well, what Moore was saying about the 6 words that will kill any business are, we've always done it this way. And I think us as individuals can be guilty of that as well. That just because I've done a certain task a certain way for a long time doesn't mean that should be the same forever. At some point, you might have to hand the reins over to someone else because you're growing on your own journey. You need to focus on bigger, more important stuff. And if you're there doing something that a VA in the Philippines can do for £5 an hour and probably to a better standard than you, just got to let go of that shit. And I think there's some business owners out there, even now, who would still look at it as a cost. Oh, well, yes, but if I don't pay that VA £5 an hour, that means it's £5 extra for the business. It's like, well, no, but you're looking at it as a cost, not as investment. You pay someone £5 so you can focus on the £100 an hour tasks. That's how it works.
And like maybe it'd be worth breaking down for the listeners what £100 task is.
Okay.
I haven't heard what that is before.
Oh, right, okay. So, I mean, that's old school now. Some people are talking about, you're so important as a business owner now, it's £1,000 an hour kind of task and £1 million an hour and all that kind of shit. But unless you're an accountant, I'd say if you're fucking around a lot of the day in spreadsheets, as a business owner, there's probably someone else who should be doing that. So there are people out there who can do that for £5 an hour abroad, for £10 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is in the UK. But there might be staff who could do that better. So you can focus on the marketing of your business, the growth of your business, whether that means running ads, your social media, going out networking, going to conferences, whatever that might be, to keep the inquiries coming in, to grow your database and to focus on those kind of big jobs that will protect your business. Whereas almost, to use the loose label of admin, if you find yourself doing admin it probably isn't the best thing. And if you really enjoy doing admin, maybe you should just be better off going and getting an admin job. Because, we've seen some business owners who do realise that actually, I was a baker. I thought I wanted to own a bakery business, but no, I just enjoyed baking the bread too much. So I might as well go back to baking for someone else and save myself all the ball ache.
Yeah. And one point actually I wanted to go back to was you could find a VA to do it, or in the landscape at the moment, find AI to do it, and find a tool to do it for you that is consistently there and improving and doesn't take holidays. AI won't dare to take a holiday.
Do you love AI then?
Yeah. I think particularly this year it's just gone crazy.
So I know it's always a case of you've got to put in the correct prompts to get the quality out the other end, and that's a mistake a lot of people are making. They're just putting shit in, getting shit out. Obviously, you know how to use AI properly. So where examples that you think people owning a business could use AI in terms of making their marketing more effective and getting it done quicker?
I mean, the one that immediately springs to mind is copywriting.
Okay.
It is a skill, and you can sit for hours going down a rabbit hole, writing a blog, tweaking it here. It'll never be 100% the way you want it to be. Social media posts, we see a lot of our clients they spend a lot of time or no time because they've spent too much time in the past writing a social media post every day. They don't see the return on it. And you can get, like, with the right prompts, you can load up AI and ask it, give me another post today about this, or this is my favourite post I've ever written, give me 3 more like it. And then you get another AI to schedule it for you, and happy days.
Nice. I was, drove up to Wigan to meet a client yesterday, and I was telling him about this AI that listens to your sales calls. And so this guy's got a sales team. And so a salesperson would be having a call, and at the end of it, AI would email the boss a summary of the call, what the salesperson did well, what they didn't do so well, and it rates them out of 10. And it's like, fucking, he was just like, oh, that sounds amazing. I imagine salespeople wouldn't like it too much, but it is a case of like, shit, that's where we're going. Where, even for our discovery calls, that we could have something like, right, okay, where have I gone? What have I done well? What could I improve the next time? And yeah, it's brilliant. But again, to stress, it is a tool. You've mentioned automation, social media scheduling, Calendly. Obviously, you're a big. I know that's not really AI. I'm sure they'll have some AI integration soon, but you use that a lot, don't you?
Yeah, because it just means that potential clients can just book into my diary at a time that suits them, and we're not ringing, leaving a message, then they leave a message for me.
Yeah.
Even the email tennis it's rather just book in and let's get it sorted in 5 minutes rather than 10 emails where I don't know what you want and you don't know what I want, and then I take your tone wrong and you take my tone wrong.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, I know I'm not the world's most patient person, but the hours and the will to live that can be lost to telephone tennis, to email tennis, to all that kind of, and like say, right, well, I'm going to just fire this email off now, and it's rushed, and like you say, the customer misreads it or misinterprets it. I think definitely what we've seen in terms of positioning. So as a business owner, to be perceived as to be an authority in your field, something simple like Calendly can really help to restrict that access to you, because you're certainly not going to be productive if you're at everyone's beck and call. So everyone wants a discovery call with you. Everyone wants a free meeting with you. I mean, fucking hell, if I think about the times back in the day, I'd drop everything as soon as a potential new client said, hey, Andy, I might want to about my marketing. Could you come and see me? And I'd drive fucking 50 miles. I'd pay for parking. I'd drive all the way back. I'd send a proposal out and get ghosted. And all that time, obviously, is going to seriously hamper your productivity. Whereas now, you want to see me? Okay, well, here's some questions you need to answer on Calendly. Here's a link to my diary, but you need to answer these questions first. You get through those questions, then yeah, you can book in 15 or 30 minutes with me. And that's just, it sounds simple, but that restricting level of access to people as a business owner is massive. But obviously you're using that as well. I think everyone's using it now, aren't they? Because people can't just click the fingers and get hold of you. You've got big shit to do.
And it's not even just, well, obviously my productivity is a huge thing, but also like taking me away from stuff that I'm doing for somebody else is not fair on our other clients either. And if I'm speaking to you and you've booked in a calendar, you've got my attention, which you also, I hate the word deserve, but do deserve my full attention.
But that's a massive point. That's a massive point. I wonder how many people are out there doing important work for clients that they're getting paid to do, but they're not giving that piece of work their full attention because they're letting their phone ring, they're checking messages, they're a slave to other people want something because the door's not closed, whatever it might be. All those little interruptions are surely going to impact on the quality of the work.
Well, there is a stat on that it takes like 25 minutes to get back into something once you've been
back
distracted.
in the zone.
Back in the zone.
Oh, I love a good stat.
So if restricting that is nice.
That's a nice coffee. So there we go. There's another productivity hack. Buy a coffee machine rather than stood by the kettle waiting for it to boil. That is bloody lovely, that is. Yeah, so it does require some training on both our part and the customer's part, maybe the prospect's part, to say, hey, no, I know you want to speak to Martha, but you can't just click your fingers. Here's a link to her diary and you can book in at a mutually convenient time. Well, I want to speak to her now. We know that does happen, but that's just...
And it's hard when you're a people pleaser because you want to give people what they want. But
come on, how hard is it saying no then?
It is hard saying no. We've been working on this, haven't we? Because slightly off tangent, but there are different ways of knowing you're a people pleaser that might not be the typical things that you think, but it's like saying yes to doing something and then actually dreading it for the rest of the week, or being in a bad mood because you know you've got to do it. Maybe you wouldn't associate that with people pleasing, but that is a form of people pleasing, and you've got to say no. And it is hard. I had it this week. I had to say no, but it was mutually beneficial. But it's hard because I want to be a yes man or a yes woman.
I think, yeah, if you say yes to everyone and everything, surely you're not going to be fulfilling your potential. Loads of other people will be happy and everyone will love you, but in terms of you putting yourself, your livelihood, your career, your family first, it ain't going to happen, is it? It's mad. And I think, there's these things that go around, these memes and stuff about like regrets that someone has on their deathbed, and it always seems to be about time. I wish I'd spent more time with someone, or I wish I'd spent more time doing that. No one ever said, oh, I wish I'd spent more time working harder or whatever. And I had this with I mentioned this on a training I did for a group this morning, that it took my 8-year-old, well, she's 13 now, she was 8 at the time, to teach me a hugely valuable lesson about time and productivity. Is that I was saying to her, to Holly, that, oh, come on, I spend lots of time with you, and I thought I did, doing a good job as a dad. And she said, yeah, but it's not just with you, it's always you and your phone. And that was hard for an 8-year-old to tell me that. And that's where me and Joel started not just relabeling, but stopping looking at things as being a work-life balance and rather a work-life harmony, as in I'd rather spend an hour with Holly where it's just me and her rather than 3 hours with her, but also my phone, and I've got the phone ringing, I've got the phone beeping, checking messages, all that kind of shit. It's about being present, which is like what you said about work on an important piece of work for a client. You need to be present doing that, not 50% there, 50%. Oh, I wonder what that email notification's about. And that, at the end of the day, clients are paying us to give them that focus. So let's talk about big thing with Paul on that previous podcast about productivity was about journaling or at least using some kind of diary, notebook, writing things down, your wins, your non-negotiables. What are some of the non-negotiables in your life that if you do, you'll have a better day than if you wouldn't have done them?
Exercise is a huge one for me, and not necessarily always going to the gym every day because it's not realistic.
Which gym are you doing now? Which gym are you doing? You moved?
I've just joined a new one.
Oh, what's it like?
It's convenient.
Oh, right, okay. That's not a good sell then. Right, it's just hand nearest to you.
Yeah.
Scummy showers.
24 hours though.
Oh, but would you go in late at night?
Yeah.
And is it staffed 24/7
No,
or
code to get in?
Oh, I don't know. That sounds.
They're all 24/7
fishy.
now in the area because one did, and then
No, they've all got to do it. But would you go at like midnight on your own?
no. But sell them what they want, give them what they need.
Oh, I like that. We should use that one.
Yeah.
Or have you nicked that from somewhere?
Yeah. So going to the gym was a non-negotiable.
Okay.
Or I thought it was, and then I'd get annoyed at myself and I didn't go. So now it's just exercise. So a walk at lunchtime, a walk after my dinner is always doable, or going to the gym or something. Otherwise I'm miserable and I shout at my boyfriend because I need something.
He
even
is
if it's just a walk.
a patient man. No, but so what? So if you don't exercise, then do you notice that you're?
I can feel it in my mood. Yeah.
And when does it matter what time of day you exercise?
No, but I think I start to notice a dip. But then sometimes I'll be like, right, on my lunchtime I need to go for a walk because I know now that that's what it is. But yeah, like come 7 or 8, if I haven't got out or done some exercise, I can feel it.
As I was saying, like, what you said in the last podcast, mental health requires physical support. And obviously there are some people that need extra help when it comes to looking after their mental well-being. But exercise is, I guess it's always been one of the answers, and certainly seems to be something that even the NHS is pushing more, maybe partly because it doesn't cost them any money. But getting outside in the fresh air, doing your steps, doing what you can, it can only make things better compared to if you didn't do them. And we see this with my mother-in-law, who's like 88 or something now, so she just hasn't got the physical health to move much, and it's hard. You can see the effect it has. So what else other non-negotiables for you?
Writing down wins.
Oh, okay.
And again, like journaling, I know you talk about the importance of it, but I'm getting there. I found it hard, so I've started with notes in my app of my daily wins.
Okay.
Because it's so easy to forget.
Whatever. I love journaling. I love writing. I believe the physical act of writing rather than typing makes things sink in better. But anything is better than planning and thinking and going to do something in the new year. So it's whatever works for you.
Journaling is one of your non-negotiables, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there are some days where I don't. I just forget, whatever it might be. But pretty much every single day, and every week, I have to do like a plan and review session, and I don't think I've missed one of those in like a year. So right, what's gone well this week? What could I have done differently? And what do I need to do next week? And being able to refer, so every Sunday morning partly is taken up by doing that, and to use that then as a reference for the rest of the week. Right, okay, what do I need to do, and what do I need to do today to move me closer to my big 12-month goal? And obviously that's broken down into quarterly goals and weekly goals and all that. But most people go around in circles because they don't know where they're going. So this is what I want to get to. Right, okay, that's a strategy. And as we're always saying, a strategy without an action plan is just a fucking expensive piece of paper. So you got your strategy. What do you need to do? What do you need to implement to get through that strategy, to hit your 12-month goal of bloody losing 3 stone, getting 100 new customers, whatever it might be? But it's always good to put a number on it. Then it's something tangible to go for. And then breaking it down like a big pizza, break it down into small slices. Right, okay, this is what I need to do today to move me a little bit closer. And so many people full of potential who can offer so much value to the world, they don't do stuff like that because they probably don't know about it, and accordingly the world's a bit worse off because of it. And ultimately, when you write something down, it's more likely to get done. So it's like, what do I need to do? Right, well, I've been a shit husband the past week, so I need to take Emma out for a date lunch. I know if I, on a Sunday morning, put that in the diary for some point in the week, it will happen. And if I just say to myself, I want to take Emma out for lunch, but I don't write it down, guess what happens to the odds of that happening? Because something else will get in the way. Someone will book a meeting, I've got a call, whatever it might be. So having something to write down or use an app or whatever to make sure that ultimately you own your diary, no matter what a diary looks like for you, because if you don't own it, someone else will. So you'll know, won't you? You'll try to do stuff, but there'll just be other people who want a piece of you.
So, just Am I right in thinking you do that every quarter with Emma and say this is what we want to do and get it in?
So interesting, and this wasn't planned at all. For the first time this year, I haven't done that. And what happened is that this week is half term, and I've got no time scheduled for my kids. I took Maddie out for a pizza on Monday, but I've got calls and meetings up at Wigan yesterday. I'm going to Glasgow on Friday, because at the end of quarter three, Emma and I didn't sit down and say, right, what do we need to make sure we've got blocked off in quarter four? And so, fucking, old enough and ugly enough to know better than that. So yeah, between Christmas and New Year, I need to sit down, right, what are we doing January to March? What do we need to book off? Again, to make it more likely to happen. So I'm not saying my kids at all this half term, but, I want to take Holly here and I want to go to the cinema with Maddie, and it just can't happen. And so, yeah, sitting down quarterly, there's a guy we know called Joe Woodhouse. He's married. He's got 2 or 3 kids, 3 kids, I think. And every Sunday evening is like family meeting. They sit down and him and his wife and say, right, what have we got to do this week? And so it's whatever works for the individual, but to have something regularly, some kind of planning session, right, what do we need to happen? And it doesn't have to be anything to do with business. It could be going for bloody walks. It could be going to the gym, whatever. But unless you know what's coming, it's too easy to let other people and other things pull you in different directions. Because you know now, you become your marketing knowledge now. You think everything you've learned, so you come to CodeBreak. Clients, prospects, leads, they'll see your work on social media. More and more people want you.
Yeah, so is what we're saying then that productivity in business relies on productivity outside of business?
Oh, Marth, bloody hell, that's deep. Yeah, most of the stuff in terms of the planning happens outside of work, and it's like, it comes back to that work-life harmony. You talk about the importance of exercise. I'm with you. I know that if I don't look after myself first, so if I don't exercise, ultimately it is work that will suffer, because it's hard when people say, oh, you got to put on your own oxygen mask first. That's called self-care, but a lot of people would look at that as being selfish. So someone like my mum would be like, well, why can't you do that? And I'll say, well, because I've got this other stuff to do. Oh, well, that's just being selfish. No, it's not. It's like, if I don't go on that bike ride or do jiu-jitsu or whatever, my output will suffer. And that's why they tell you on the planes, no matter how many kids you got sat around you, the plane goes down, put your own fucking oxygen mask on first, because then you can better help other people. And that's hard to get your head around, I think.
Yeah.
So how are you with, like, say, in terms of managing people's expectations of you? Do you find it a struggle? Are you getting better at it now? Is it like water off a duck's back, as in like, you've got this to do, everyone else can fucking wait? Or is it still a bit of a challenge to try and help more people?
I'm finding it easier. Going back to Calendly, I will be like, here's my link, book in a time that suits you. And it's like, okay, but can you do tomorrow? Well, no, because it's not available. And part of me wants to be like, right, who can I shuffle around? What can I do to get them in? Mm-hmm. And I said no the other day. Like, no, I can't. I'm not here. I wasn't here. But it still felt like I was letting someone down, and I had to think, no, I'm not, because I've got to stick to that. Like, and then they'll benefit it from in the future when I'm with them offsite and I can't shuffle them around. But yeah, it's ongoing. It's not like I'm not a people pleaser anymore, or I'm super productive now. There's always going to be work to be done and slip ups, and you just got to keep it in the forefront of your mind. But
yeah, I think the irony is, the people that would demand more of your time, to expect you to shuffle things around to suit them, they're the people who'd kick off the most if you had to rearrange stuff with them to help someone else. And it's like, no, if you're busy, but you've got to change that to suit someone else, but another client's going to suffer as a result, it's lose-lose, really.
Yeah, I mean, I always remember my mum would be like, you've got to be early for everything. You've got to be early for everything. And when I started out my career in like corporate, you can't be 15 minutes early, as some people would perceive that as polite, but there's actually no, like, you booked in for that time because that is the time someone is available to speak to you, and if you are there any earlier, it's an inconvenience.
Time is the currency of life, and that's what this is all about. And I think maybe eat that frog, was that the first? I'm trying to think my journey into looking into productivity more. How do these fucking people like Elon Musk, Richard Branson, how do they get more shit done than us mere mortals? Because we've all got 24 hours in the day. And I'd say that Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog was probably where I started looking at things about a bit differently and thinking, right, well, I know there are big tasks I need to do to move me forward. They might be painful. If I don't do them, my day will just go to shit. And that took a long time to get my head around. But it's like, if you've got to do a sales call, but deep down you're praying for them not to answer that call, and you think, I've done it now. But it's like, eat that frog. Those big tasks, get them done early on. So, because I know here, you guys, you do your frogs, don't you?
Yeah, every morning.
So what might a frog be?
Yeah, so it's difficult because we used to run off the 3 frogs that you're going to get done in the morning, but then we had to flip that because your most important frog might not be something that you can get done very quickly. Okay. So it was turning out that we were putting frogs on like turn this ad campaign off, call Andy, and it was like, no, these aren't the important frogs, and we were actually just getting into a habit of what is the quickest things I can tick off, which sometimes can be useful to do, especially if your to-do list is looking or feeling overwhelming. But no, it's got to be like, what do we need to do to move forward today? And that might be something that takes you past ideally where you'd want to be. But that we've seen really improve the team's productivity and like outlook on, okay, now that is actually done, and it's okay that I've only ticked one thing off before lunch because now it's done.
So what would you say? What's something that maybe scared you in the past, but you're more comfortable with it now?
I'd always put off calls. I'd be
any phone call, sales call, or any.
Phone. Yeah, I think I was scared to ask the question because I had all these outcomes in my head that things might have happened or that it would have gone bad, and then
thinking ahead.
Yeah, which I just don't do anymore because 80% of the things you worry about never happen. And I'd catch myself being like, oh, but what if it doesn't work? What do you mean? What if it does work? That's the whole thing about marketing, isn't it? It's testing and measuring and testing and measuring. And it's okay that something might not work how you want it to the first time because you've learned all this and now it's going to work the next time. But yeah, calls. And now I had 4 calls yesterday and I was looking forward to it. I was looking forward to like chatting to everybody, catching up with them, seeing how things went. Now they're back from holiday. How was Tenerife? But yeah, 2 years ago, I was like anything to email, to be like, oh, just email them that. Oh yeah, but I can just WhatsApp them. And now I'm like, nah, give me a call when you can. Book in.
Nice. It's an interesting thing, worry. I mean, you could do a whole podcast on that, but the amount of people I know who they devote so much time and energy to worrying. Some people might say they're born worriers, which is just an excuse. Yeah, just a label, isn't it? To almost like say, yeah, it's not my fault. I was born that way. But worrying about, worrying about stuff that probably isn't going to happen. So if you're worrying about, I don't know, a presentation you got to do, right? Have you done your slides? Have you done your notes? Have you gone over the notes? Is the tech all in place? Now, if the answer's no, then yeah, you've got a right to fucking worry. But the solution is take action. But if you have done all those things, you need to focus your attention on something else, something positive. So you've done the work for that. So no point worrying about your presentation. You've done everything within your control to get it right. Focus on something positive rather than sit there going, oh, but what if? And like I say, 80% of the time, probably even higher, never even happens. But some people, their productivity is shot because, I don't know, maybe they default to the negative because of how they're brought up or whatever. But I'm sure that can change if they've got a willingness to learn and accept responsibility.
Yeah. And I think our brains are actually, they want to protect you from danger, don't they?
Yeah.
But you can, and I think the more you allow yourself to worry about things, the worse it gets. But there's definitely ways to work around that.
And action, ultimately will always come down to doing what you need to do. You know, I like Jeff Thompson's The Fear Pyramid, where like you write down your like minor worries and fears on like the bottom row of the pyramid, and then the level up are slightly bigger fears and worries, and then you get to the very top. What is my biggest worry? So it could be physical confrontation, it could be sales calls, but by addressing and actioning the minor worries first, you build yourself up. But it will always come down to the doing. And some people they don't want to do the reps. They want to use a label like, oh yeah, I'm a born warrior, nothing I can do about it. And that's just, well, it's just a bit sad. And I think the world will miss out. But it is hard to accept responsibility. No one, or hardly anyone, wants to accept responsibility. You know, it's not my fault, it's this, it's that. It's like, well, okay, there are certain things out of your control. But, you know, another good book, Ben Hunt Davis, Will It Make the Boat Go Faster? All he talks about is control the controllables. So when my mum's saying, oh, aren't you worried about what's going on in the Middle East? Or where, well, I need to know about it. I don't want to be ignorant and have my head in the sand about global affairs. But there's nothing I can do to control that. So I don't want it to take up a large part of my day. I certainly don't want to start the day by listening to news of horrible things happening. You know, I try and consume my news just once a week. I get the week magazine, read it on a Sunday, a summary of what's gone on in the week. That tends to be it. Where some people, they obsess over the news. They obsess over toxic people on social media. And I know you can't choose who your family is. Sometimes you can't choose who your friends are. But you can certainly choose who you're connected to online. Because I think if you're connected to too many of the wrong people online, your joie de vivre, your enthusiasm, your keenness to help people, your productivity is going to suffer. And of course, you can choose who you connect to online. So,
Absolutely.
When it comes to doom scrolling, are you quite good at that? Are you good at yours? Because I know when Annie worked here, she was you know young. What was she, mid-20s? She had a really good relationship with her phone in terms of how much time she spent on various apps, and it's like fucking hell. Because generally speaking, when people say I don't have enough time, the first thing I'll say is show me your screen time, and it's like 7 hours a day. Right, you're telling me you haven't got time to do stuff. So how are you on that front? So.
In my brain, I'm thinking, do I lie or do I tell the truth?
So so maybe on Sunday then do the swipe right thing on the homepage and see what your weekly screen time is.
Mine won't be good.
Okay. What's your favourite app?
Probably TikTok.
TikTok. And what kind of content do you watch?
Whatever. Yeah, it's like when I get home and I just want to not pay attention to too much. But like I was watching a film with Jace the other day, and I was like, I can't watch this. Like, I haven't got the attention to pay to this. I need like short, quick bursts of, I guess it's like, not adrenaline, but dopamine. Yeah, quick. And we were watching it, and I was like, nothing's happening in this film. It's taking ages.
I think everyone of all ages is getting like that now. Me and Emma, we will certainly give up on a film a lot earlier than we used to if it hasn't caught up. We were watching the new, who's the Wonder Woman? Gal Gadot, is that how you pronounce her name? And she's in a new film on Netflix, and it was action on a ski resort. She was a spy or something. But after 20 minutes, it was like,
was it called something to do with the heart? Something in the heart? Because that was good. I watched that.
I can't bloody remember. But, you know, before, we were like, well, the film's on now. There's bugger all else on the 3 other channels. But now, of course, it's like, yeah, not good enough. What else is on? And you've got a million channels to choose from. And like Holly, again, my youngest, she'll go to the cinema for a special film. But generally speaking, yeah, she won't do films because she just hasn't got the attention span.
And we're all like our attention spans.
So what would you do if, you know, on LinkedIn, I guess we use that mostly for business. Are there people you're connected with that you think every so often, right, okay, I need to do a cull because they're just always, I don't know, banging on about politics that I don't agree with, or they're miserable, or just people you don't need in your life?
Yeah, definitely. But it is hard because I think if they've seen I unfollow them, this is going to cause me some social suicide.
Okay.
But yeah, I have it like, there's this one person who I used to know from my old gym, and everything is like so miserable, and like there's nothing against her, but it's like, oh no, now I've got to do this, and now I've got to do this, and it's like, oh, it's just really bringing me down. But I was a bit like, but that's people pleasing, isn't it? I'm scared to unfollow her because she's going to think I don't like her. But I did.
Well, it's like, if you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, back in the day, that used to be obviously people you met up with in person. But now it's also, I guess, the people you spend a lot of time with online.
That is interesting. I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah, so it's like,
that obviously has changed.
I think if you're scrolling through a social media feed with your friends, like TikTok, I guess is different, and there's just a lot of shit or a lot of hate or, like you say, a lot of self-pity or whatever, it's like, is that energizing me? Is it exciting me? Is it teaching me anything? Am I learning anything? And sometimes if the answer is no, it's like, do I need to be connected to this person? Like, one of our rules if we're writing social media content is, will what I'm about to write educate, empower, or entertain? And if the answer is no, you need to rewrite that post. But it's almost like the same, I think, who you're connected with online. Does this person educate, empower, or entertain me? And if it's never any of those, well, maybe
I stopped using Facebook because it's like people's nuns. Like, does anyone know the number for the doctors?
Or someone selling a crockery set for £5. I'm getting that on my Facebook now. I'm like, what am I doing? And I take it off my phone, but then I'm a member of a finance group that's on Facebook, and so I need the Facebook access. And it's like, but yeah.
I am a member of my local town, Rant, Chats and Moans Facebook group, but it's so funny. Sometimes if I just need a bit of perspective on life, I'll look in there and it just makes me laugh so much.
God, so many villages seem to, like Joel, where he used to live, his like estate had a Facebook group, and it'd be like people saying, oh, someone's been going around at 25 miles an hour again when the speed limit's 20, and it's like, oh my God.
Has anyone seen my blue coat?
Well, I mean, obviously you know more about social media than I do, but years in the game, we can almost tell by how someone writes on social media how much time they spend on social media. They can say send an inquiry to one of our clients. You can almost tell now by the writing that when you reply or message them, they're going to reply straight away because they just live their life on Facebook. And that sounds really judgy, but I'd say 90% of the time we can tell exactly what kind of person we're dealing with. And nothing wrong with being on Facebook loads, but are you
complaining you've got no time?
Yeah, couldn't say it any better. So in business, something Steve Jobs talked about a lot was that to play the A game, you need to hang around with other A game players. And he talks about if you start letting B game players in, sooner or later your work gets compromised, and you'll also start attracting the C game players. And obviously from a productivity point of view, Apple couldn't afford that. And when I read it, I was like, oh, this is really harsh, isn't it? It's like, you're not good enough, fuck off. Only A game players here. And Steve Jobs, obviously, he pretty much was that brutal, apparently. But it's one of those things that is harsh but fair, that you want to help as many people as you can, but maybe some people just aren't a good fit for where you want to go. And say, well, this is the game I'm playing. You're playing a different game. There's no right or wrong, but I can't give you my time and energy.
Time vampires.
Time vampires. Tire kickers. No different, I suppose, tire kickers, isn't it? But yeah, time vampires. Can I just pick your brains, Martha? Oh, God, how many times you used to get that? It's, some people, I think, they just don't put a value on time. It's always about the money. We talk a lot about leading with value, try and help the right people. And the money is like a very nice secondary result of that. But I think if you focus on the money first, it's difficult.
Even the wrong people, to be fair, we try and give them some value to live with. We're not a good fit for you, but this is a mistake I've seen people make that I don't want you to make. And I think that's fair.
Yeah, no one likes being told no. That's a tricky one. I'd say no to a potential client the other day, and that didn't go down well. Well, you don't think, what, I'm not good enough, I don't earn enough. And it's like, and the fact was, they didn't earn enough that I could justify taking their money. And we always say here, like when people say, oh, how much should I be spending on ads, or what's my ad budget, whatever. And, I nicked this from Ben Knight, basically, but Ben always said, when you're investing in the stock market, it should be an amount that causes you enough pain to take interest. Because if it's such a little insignificant amount of money you're spending, you don't really care that much. But it shouldn't be so much it keeps you up at night. And I thought, fucking hell, that's brilliant. And so I didn't want this person not being able to sleep at night because they were giving us quite a significant percentage of their revenue. It's like, I want to be able to sleep at night as well. And so I had to say no, but no one likes being told no. And that's another childhood thing, you know, people wagging their finger at you, teacher, parents, whatever, having your toys taken off you. No one likes that, but that's just something else we've got to deal with. So marketing, marketing and productivity. Talked about AI. Talk to me a little bit about investing loads of time on your organic social media, which is important, but also compared to how you can scale by investing in ads.
Yes, so, I mean, organic is important for credibility. I mean, the first thing somebody will do when they see an ad, well, not everybody, but some people will do, is click through to see who you are. And if you haven't posted since 2017, when your last post was Happy National Cat Day, you're losing them. You've lost them at the first hurdle. But equally, it's not, organic is not going to be scalable or measurable. But when you invest in ads, you've got the data to see what worked, what didn't, how do you make it better. And it's also that intent thing. So depending on what kind of ads you run, like if you're doing Google ads, it's literally somebody who's Googling, they need whatever you do. And then with Facebook, you're kind of bringing them in at the top of the funnel. They might not be in consideration yet or even know they want your product. And, I've lost my train of thought.
That's right. So
what was the original question?
So organic media is great, your shop window, but it's not scale because the only way to get more results with organic media is by doing more organic media, spending more time. Whereas with ads, you can scale it once you know what ads are working, I guess.
And reach more people. And
more of the right people.
More of the right people. Because your organic is going to reach could reach anybody. That's the thing with boosting posts on Facebook. It will show it to.
Do you think?
Huh?
People still doing that?
Yeah, because Facebook markets it so well because it's easy and anyone can do it. And Facebook is a business and they do want your money. And it will show, this post to 1,000 people, not 1,000 of the right people, maybe not even one of the right person. So it's instead of shooting an arrow into the darkness blindfolded, you can see your target, so you've got a much higher chance of getting the right people. And then of course, depending on where they enter in that funnel, your organic might support that. Somebody might follow you for 2. We've had clients who have followed us for a year, listen to every episode of the podcast, and then they convert. So I think it's definitely not to be shunned. But if you're going to prioritize one, it's got to be paid for.
So obviously ads, I guess like any tool, can be used well, they can be used badly. Generally speaking, when we take over a new client's ad account, we find some horror stories in there. So what are the kind of time-consuming things that people are doing with their ads? So it's like, no, you should be doing this way. There are quicker, better ways to be doing it. Like, what are some of the pitfalls and mistakes you commonly see when people are trying to launch their own ads?
I mean, the setup initially of having the right thing, tracking the right thing, connected to you. I can't tell you how many clients we've had who don't own their own stuff.
Oh shit, go on, what do you mean by that?
Like they don't, particularly if they've come from another agency.
Right.
Or they've worked, or they've had an employee who's left. That employee or the agency owns all their assets. Oh dear, right. Okay.
Is that just, again, people pleasing, people being nice and saying, yeah, I can trust Johnny with my ads and... Yeah.
Or it's just not knowing how to set up the platform. It can be confusing if you're not used to it. So technical setup, I think, if you're going to spend time doing something, it's making sure you own your stuff and you're tracking people so you can get back in front of them. And then for your, I'd say one thing that the most polished ads that you might spend the most time creatively making look beautiful don't always perform the best.
Oh, sorry, designers out there. Right,
Yeah,
okay.
especially recently, like the last quarter or so, I think people know their ads, and it is the ugly ad is a thing, but it's the ugly ones that are grabbing the attention. So maybe if you're spending all your time making your ads look beautiful, maybe just try one of you sat there with something in your hand that is relevant to what you're selling. And of course, like having something out there at 80% is going to be way better than having 100% in the drawer or 99% in the drawer.
Yep. What's it? Imperfect action will always beat perfect inaction. How many people know? Oh yes, I'm. What's the phrase? I'm just lining all my ducks in a row. I mean, fucking hell. Could you imagine ever trying to line up ducks in a row? It will never happen. I'm not saying good is good enough, but sometimes, again, it's just taking action. The people now that we see this every year without fail, come sort of October time, maybe November time, people are going to get onto everything in the new year. And generally speaking, the people who put off stuff to the new year are the people who'll be putting off stuff forever. So it's like, well, so you've got all these big plans, and right now, where are we? 1st of November. That's 8 weeks till the end of the year. So why would I waste 8 weeks because I think no one's spending? I mean, I did a post about this yesterday. No one's spending. Apparently in the UK, we spent £1 billion fucking pounds on Halloween, on dress, just here in the UK, on fucking dressing up. So don't tell me no one's spending. Okay, they may be spending on other stuff. But ultimately that means the money is still there. You just got to work a bit smarter to get hold of it, rather than giving up for 8 weeks. Oh, I'll get onto it in the new year. It's like that. That's the opposite of productivity.
And if you turn all your ads off now, you're not going to have any warm audience to target in the new year.
No, so tell me about this. So I often use the analogy about starting your engine from cold. So you're saying that like running ads consistently rather than, well, the boost posts on off, that's going to serve people better.
Yeah, exactly. Because like you might be running a cold audience and a warm audience, right? But your warm audience is half the price, which you'd expect. Right, I'm turning the cold off, but those cold become your warm, and if you stop that trickle, your warm is going to be gone. So you've got to keep building your email list, keep building your warm audience, keep building your website traffic, because those cold people then become your warm people. But it's so easy, isn't it, to say, oh, this one's better, let's turn that one off.
Well, I'd say with like you say about building your database, that's definitely a mistake I see with organic social media. People spend all their time and effort posting organically, but never ever try and capture data. Because unless you do that, you're putting the control in the hands of the algorithm. Whereas if you use social media to at least now and then say, hey, I've got this fantastic free PDF for you, just message me your email address or go to this link and sign up for it there. Then once you've got their data, as long as you do it ethically, you can then stay in front of them. So that is being productive. Whereas it's almost like no matter how well Instagram, Facebook, whatever it might be, works for you, if you haven't got those people's data, you are not the one in control of your marketing.
And do not put all your eggs in Mark Zuckerberg's basket, because it can all be taken away so quickly. And when Meta decide you're banned, I mean, if you work with us, I could probably find ways to get you back in the green. But yeah, and then what do you do? Maybe you've gone from your whole marketing strategy now doesn't exist.
We generally met a fitness influencer. I think he had 250 or 300,000 followers, but his marketing was totally leveraged on organic Instagram. And something happened, and he was suspended for 2 weeks, and that crippled his business because he had nowhere else to go. And I say you can't be everywhere, but like I say, don't be in one place. And say you do stay in touch with people. Again, productivity. What have you found the most productive, the most cost-effective, time-effective ways of staying in touch with people who might be interested in your service are?
Email is not dead. I keep seeing this being bandied around. Email is not dead.
Okay.
And like we've mentioned, the AI tools, you can you can use it to write emails that you might think, oh, I might tweet this, I might tweet that, but at least you're there. You're there in the inbox. Frequency of emails, if you think about how many emails you have a day. I was chatting to a client about an email campaign. They was like, is one a week too much? And not everybody's going to see every email you send. I'd say one a week should be minimum, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not saying everyone has to do daily emails, but yeah, one a week. Almost like anything less, it's not enough to cut through the noise. So I was watching the famous Steve Jobs video from, was it 1997? And he talks about the challenges of marketing, cutting through the noise, saying he's saying it's a noisy world. It's like, fucking hell, that was 25 years ago. Imagine how much noisier it is now. So if you're, if on your website, hidden away in the footer is sign up for our monthly newsletter. Well, one, there's no incentive to, but you're sending emails once a month. You're more likely to get reported for being a spammer if you send a monthly email compared to a daily email, because it's been that fucking long since someone last heard of you. They're like, who's this bloke? And they're in the wrong mood, and they just report you as a spammer. Emails, cool. What else? Was that the best one?
In terms of
staying in touch with people who said, yeah, I might be interested in what you have to offer.
Banners, Google banners.
Oh,
great!
Fucking hell! Right, okay. I hadn't even thought about that. Retargeting. Yeah. Go on then, Marth. What's retargeting? Why is that so awesome?
So it's somebody who's shown some intent. They've clicked on your website. Okay. They've spent a bit of time on your Instagram page. They've watched 25% of the video you've posted on Facebook. So they
have they got you doing any videos yet?
You have got some videos of me, but I don't know if they've gone out.
Oh, okay.
I can't even watch them.
Oh, really?
Oh, it just makes me cringe.
When Ollie was here, I asked if he watched him. When we went out for lunch with him, wasn't it? We asked if he sort of watches some of his shows. He does watch some of them, but like some people would never watch themselves on telly. So you never watched any of your videos back then?
No, I was chatting to Ben Knight about this as well, because he says he does watch stuff back and takes notes. Of course he does, because he's so awesome. But I was like, I can't do it, and I know I should, because I need to critique to be better, but I just...
so even those little reels about
I haven't watched them.
Who's the funniest at Codebreak and who's got the best... That one, yeah.
The ones that I did in Belfast that are just me, though, I can't move.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Are those out?
Yeah, they're in the Dropbox folder, but I don't think they've gone out on...
Oh, yeah, mine haven't been edited yet, but yours are in there. Oh, I'll go and have a watch of those then.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Right. Okay, so sorry, so someone's watched some of your video and you serve them a banner. Yeah,
and that just when they're ready to buy, you're in the forefront of their mind. They haven't forgotten about you.
I love sometimes if I see an ad or something and I go to that business's website, I won't do anything and I want to see whether they'll stay in touch with me with banners, and so many of them don't.
And it's so good for like credibility as well. Like it shows your authority if you're on the Daily Mail, somebody's reading the Daily Mail and your ad is there. It's like, oh yeah, okay, well these guys must know what they're doing.
Not the Mail though.
Well, no, yeah, well,
yeah, the Times. No, Joel wouldn't like the Times.
Guardian.
Actually. Is that a bit too left? I don't read newspapers too much.
Yeah.
Definitely not the Sun. So banner retargeting. I guess an easy, cost-effective, time-effective way of staying in touch with people who expressed an interest in what you have to offer. So why don't most people do it? Don't know about it, or
maybe don't know about it. Maybe it's too painful. The effort required to figure it out, how to create the right sizes, set up the account.
But can you imagine, like, sort of someone comes to your website and they're really interested, but the doorbell goes, a kid kicks off, the phone goes, whatever, and they don't get in touch or they don't buy. And once they're gone, without retargeting or data capture, they've gone forever, and you've got nothing you can do to get back in front of them.
And surely, like, you've seen something, and you're like, oh, that was so amazing. What was that called? Or you're talking to someone, and you're like, oh, I saw this thing on Instagram, and what was it called? I can't remember the company, but I really want it. And you're ready to buy. And if they never get back in touch, how do you remember the name? Was the Eco Lab Warrior?
Oh, what's that?
I don't know. Sounded like something you'd be interested in.
Well, I'd say that. So, yeah, retargeting. It's a big fan of keeping things easy, but yeah, so many people are obsessed with this top of the funnel, and they're neglecting the people who are like already in the funnel, the warm audience. And that's where the money is, and that's where the money's being left on the table. I think in terms of spending your time, I'd say most businesses probably spend a bit less time on all the organic, trying to get brand new people into their community, and focus on the people who they're already in with a little bit.
Or who have already brought.
Oh, go on.
I mean, we've just run a campaign for one of our clients to just be like, hi, we're still here, and like three old clients who they haven't worked with for a long time have reignited, booked in calls, expressed interest in working together again. And that was like no ad budget. They didn't spend anything. We wrote them a beautiful campaign,
like we did with the installation guy, an email to his database, and he had like, is it 4 garage conversion inquiries on the back of it or something, like 10 grand a pop?
and 150 positive reviews on Google, which goes miles for any business.
Reminds me, actually, when back in the dark days of March 2020, when lockdown happened, so many businesses who had captured data but never bothered contacting you suddenly were like, shit, lockdown, I need to sell to my database. And so suddenly this company who you hadn't bought off in years and never heard of in years were just like, sell, just spamming you, just totally missing the point. I suppose at least they'd asked for the data in the first place. But then knowing when to write, how to write, what to write, totally oblivious to the fact that, lead with value and the sales will come rather than just buy my shit. It is a skill. And maybe that's what, like you say, maybe it's because that requires effort. People think, oh, fuck that. And they think, I'll be better off writing a few posts on social media, which can work. But like you say, it's I think, what did you say? Was it like a shop window, I guess? Your website, your organic social media, it's got to look cool, it's got to be fresh and up to date. But like without those signposts, the ads in the right places, in front of the right people, drive them into your shop, it's just like half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, we are putting the world to rights here now. I think I'm on my last page of notes now. Right, yeah, just made a quick note here about there are actually marketing companies out there who are promoting the fact that all you need is organic marketing, but they're promoting that through paid for ads, and you can't fucking make it up, can you? So obviously a lot of people do spend lots of time on organic social media. What would you say are the kind of posts and the kind of content that they should be putting out to maximise their time? Not National Cat Day, I presume.
Yeah. Well, a cool stat actually to do with like maximising productivity is that like you will post organically and like 20% of your following will see it. So if you've only posted that once and you never post it again, you've wasted so much time.
Wow.
There's so much repurposing you can do.
Oh, go on then. Repurposing. What's that?
It's taking one piece of content and making it into 8, 10, 20.
Oh, give me an example. It sounds like I don't know what you're talking about now. I'm just saying for the dear listener, obviously I vaguely know what repurposing about. Videos, that's why I like doing videos, because I can just get so much content from one video. So what would you advise?
If you've got a video, a reel, for example, or say you've just shot a video like this, you can turn it into a reel. You can slice it up, turn it into 3 reels. You can take the audio, stick that into ChatGPT, say, give me 10 posts to do with this.
Fucking hell. Right, we should be charging for this. Okay, brilliant. Right, what else?
You could, what else? I mean, even having the same copy with a few different images, changing the headline, shorten it, the same video, long form, short form. It's
just from one video. Yeah. And then I suppose most people using social media scheduling platforms, or are they just posting everything manually?
I'd say you should be using. I mean, even within Meta, they've got a free tool that you can schedule stuff. I think if you can get someone doing that for you, that would save a lot of your time.
I wonder if so many people like doing it because it is quite fun, or maybe it's me being sad, like, posting on social media and like people commenting and engaging. And I get it that's attractive and cool. And you get that, you mentioned that dopamine hit. But when it gets to the point where you're getting this engagement, but it's the same people, or it's like, oh, surprise, surprise, it's your mum, it's your brother-in-law, it's your best mate, it's your gym buddies, which is nice. But if those people would never buy off you, that's when you start getting into the whole, well, what are vanity metrics, and what are the metrics that are actually going to move you forward? Because, oh, I've got a like, I've got 2 likes. Look, that post has now had 500 likes. Well, that's great. But ideally, you need some of those likes to get into your database and at some point to refer you or give you money.
Buy or die.
Buy or die. Fucking hell, harsh. But yeah.
It's like you can't never, sit on the fence because you just end up with a sore bum, and loads of people who follow you will never buy from you. You're better off making your stand. Other marketing agencies are shit. Yeah, we're the anti-agency because other people get burned. People get burned. A guy I was on a call today with, I've worked with other agencies, but they just say this post had loads of reach, or I've got loads of likes. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything if none of those if none of that reach or likes is turning into leads or purchases. So if you can say, if the content you're putting out is pick a side, like, yeah, this is who we are, this is the clients we want. If that's not you and I've offended you, I mean, same guy, same client, sorry. We've had a few comments of, people who've done this in the past. Great. Well, we're in the right ballpark because it's people who have brought this kind of service before. No publicity is bad publicity. I mean, yeah, I did advise them to hide the ones that were
what's the quote? George Bernard Shaw, never wrestle with a pig. You both get dirty, and besides, the pig likes it. As tempting as it is to bite when someone has a go at you on social media, sometimes you might want to bite, but if it's on a paid-for ad, if it's on something you're giving money to, then generally speaking, we say, yeah, don't bite. But I think that energy you give to posting on social media, like you say, pick a side. I say, like, your content should get people to swim towards you or swim away from you. Yet most businesses, they're there treading water because they don't want to offend or upset everyone. And obviously, most people don't set out to offend someone, but you won't get anyone hating you, but you won't get anyone loving you either. You're just sort of meh in the middle. And that's a hard thing to get around. But when that day comes, you think, shit, if I add up all the time I've spent posting and I don't know what it's done for my business, these are some of the hard realizations you got to look at. And it's like and yeah, I've got to be honest, sometimes you think, all right, should I put that out? But no, it's going to get shit. It's Sunday evening. I can't be asked dealing with trolls on a Sunday evening. I won't put it out. But that's probably not the right thing to do. As long as you're, again, you're living within your values, or you're not just being a twat for the sake of it. There are people out there who will just run polls that are just pure clickbait. And it's good that LinkedIn are finally clamping down on that, because some of the shit I was seeing on that, just about politics. And oh God, I saw one. It was like, do you prefer Vegemite or Marmite? And it's like, oh my God, you're running a fucking poll on LinkedIn. Yes, you'll get lots of people voting. Are those people who will ever give you money? Again, probably not. And all those likes, you can't go into Tesco's and buy food or likes. Fucking hell. How long are we doing, Mads? Martha.
Not far.
Do you know, just thinking about my daughters again. Yes, I had an interesting week with my daughters now. The joys of teenage girls and vaping, amongst other things. So, yes. So anyway, let's not go down that rabbit hole. So, quick recap then. Productivity. What's some of the things? I'll start with journaling, or some kind of writing down your wins and your non-negotiables.
Diary management.
Calendly.
AI.
I'm sure there are other alternatives to Calendly. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but Calendly.com, in terms of if you have made yourself too accessible to people, if you're accepting free calls and free meetings with everyone, then do look into something like Calendly, where again you can have a routing form where you could say, as long as they answer yes to these questions, they can get access to me. If they give the wrong answers, they just get a polite, we're not for you. That's just worth it alone, I think.
Fathom actually has changed my life.
Go on.
In terms of it joins your Zoom call, and I, people pleaser, was like, oh, people are going to not want the calls to be recorded. Not one person has said to me, please don't record this call. So just get that out of your head, because it's something I thought and it's just not true. And
Tell the guys what you do with this Fathom then.
so it joins the call, records the call, which is great in itself because I'm sure we've all been there. You've taken so much information on a call. Sometimes you need to refer. It will even split it up to I asked a question or the other person asked a question, and I can go to that bit. And then at the end, you click generate summary, and it will literally do maybe 3-4 points of the main bits you've talked about and a timestamp that you can click on, and it will take you to that part in the video. And the time in writing up client notes, I cannot tell you, it must have saved me hours and hours and hours. And I think a lot of business owners will be able to benefit from that if they're doing a lot of calls or note taking. And it is, even if like you've got back-to-back calls and you're like, I haven't got time to process this, it's right there. You can watch the whole thing back. Not that that is a good use of your time, but the summary that it gives you certainly is. Fathom is
amazing.
incredible.
So you've got all these different tools out there. You've got clarity on your vision, your 12-month goal. Break that down into quarterly goals, weekly priorities, daily non-negotiables. Get that stuff written down. So when you're focused on the things that you need to positively, proactively do to move you forward, you've simply got less time to deal with all the other shit. As the Polish proverb says, not my circus, not my monkeys, and you can't afford to get dragged into that. Marth, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
See you next time.
Bye.